Top of the morning to ya, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Anna Daviscourt, and I'm proud to host the Creative Kickoff this morning. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a really fun one. We are working in Photoshop today. We are going to be working on sketches. So if you have sketches and you want to post them to social media or show a client, but they're not quite, the je ne sais quoi is maybe not quite right there, then I want to help you out. It's going to be a really fun time to create these. Well, I already have the sketches, but we're going to make them pop with a bunch of different techniques that I use in Photoshop. Let's jump into it. All right, so to start, we're going to go over to Photoshop, and here I have a bunch of kitties, because of course we have to have kitties in the morning, obviously. So oh, interesting. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to look at something on the urgent channel. Okay, so I think it's all good. Hopefully you guys can see me on Behance. We will see. One moment. Okay. Let's see here. 1 second, I have to reply to. I'm streaming right now. Technical difficulties. Hopefully you guys can see me, but if not, then say it in the chat. That doesn't make any sense if you can't see me. But we will see what is happening on Behance and YouTube. Got to make sure that this is working before I jump into things because, oh, I see that there are concurrent viewers. If you are in the chat and can see me, please put something in the chat. Oh, hey, Cody Bear, there you are. Okay, awesome. I'm going to refresh Behance to see if I can see it on there. Oh, Patrick says we can't see you on Behance. Okay, thank you so much for telling me. This is good stuff to know. Not up on Behance yet. Okay, gotcha. So Cody, is that possible for you to do? I don't exactly know how to connect things to Behance, so I guess I'm not really a help in this situation. But thank you everybody for sticking around through technical difficulties. I'm going to jump into what we have for the live today. Thank you so much, Cody, for helping on the back end. Let me know if I can do anything. It looks like there's no event on Behance in the schedule. Well, that is just wild. Hey, YouTube friends, what's up? How you doing? I guess, yeah, that we'll contact the team and see what's up, but hey, only on Adobe Live. All right, so let's jump into it. We are going to color these sketches in a way that makes them pop off the page today. So we've got these cats and they're pretty loose, they're pretty sketchy. A few things that I did up front is I weighted lines a little bit. So there is a little thicker, a little thinner. I think that always helps to make your sketches stand out. If you are wondering like where to put the thick and where to put the thin, I prefer usually to, oh, and by the way, I'm using Kyle's Drawing Box Carbonara New brush. And using black for the sketches. Oh, I have the pixels locked. There we go. So, to find where you can put the thick and thin, you can think of like weight given to an object. So if you were to draw a ball, if it's like sitting in our physics and has our gravity and all that kind of stuff, then the bottom is going to be the heavier kind of part where the weight sits. So that's where you can put the weight of the line a little thicker. And then of course you can use our favorite tool in Photoshop, the tilde key, which is the little squiggle underneath the escape key. And if you press that down while you have a brush in use, it will turn that brush into an active eraser for your art. Isn't that so cool? So then you can have that thin and thick, and it creates this dynamic little weight distribution. So that's what I did for these cats for the most part. Now they're, again, just sketches. Nothing's perfect. Doesn't have to be. But to make them, oh, thank you. Clever says, cool sketches. Thank you so much. And Cody says, cute kitties. Sean says, no Behance. I guess not right now, but we are working on it. And if not, then welcome to YouTube, friends. I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so first step for coloring our gatos today. I'm going to use a nice textured brush. There's actually a BLM brush that Kyle made for Photoshop, which is very cool. It actually says BLM as like the stamp, and then it creates a really lovely texture actually. So what I'm going to do is, I think we're going to make this an orange kitty today. Let's try, I think this orange will do. Oh yeah. And I also think that a really important part of creating a really good color dynamic for your sketches is creating a color overall, so you're not overwhelmed, an overall color scheme for your character and an overall color scheme for your background. Start simple, especially if you are intimidated by colors, by values, things like that. They do not have to be as scary as they may seem. They just need to start from a place that is simple. That is at least my way of dealing with it, because man, there's a whole big world of color and I don't want to be like, okay, so this character has 15 million things. Obviously these cats can be very simple because they're just cats. You can give whatever color and pattern you want to them. If you're doing a tortoise shell cat, you're going to have a lot more complex color and things like that going on. But we chose orange tabby today because, you know, they're just a creamsicle cat and we love that. So we're going to have this color as our base cat. And then I want a background that kind of complements it. Now this is like a muted blue, kind of bordering on periwinkle vibe for the background. And I think that really plays nicely with the orange of the cats because that feels like it has that complementary color scheme where it's orange and blue, but it's not like, whoa, saturation in your face. The cat is more saturated than the background. So I already filled in the other gatos with the colors. So I'm just going to be showing you exactly the techniques on this little middle guy, and then the rest I can just fill in as we go. Okay, so technique number 2 to make this more than just you colored in the sketches, which already this is making them pop so much more off the page than just having the sketches black and white. I do think that having some kind of separation between the background and the foreground is great, and it does not have to be clean, especially if your lines are dark or very impactful. They don't have to hold all the color. You can see my color goes outside the lines all the time, and it still looks like an impactful, like you still see the sketch of it, and the shapes are still clean. All right, so another technique I want to employ is clipping masks. So if you don't know clipping masks, they are the key to the wonders of Photoshop. So we've got, if we hover between 2 layers, all you have to do is press the key Alt on your keyboard and then click, and that layer will be clipped to the one underneath it. What does that mean? It means that the pixels that you now create on the new layer will always be bound to the layer below it. So they won't go outside the cats, basically. And I want that because the next step I want to add is a little bit of the patterning of the cats. So I want them to have a nice kind of creamy orange tummy. And I'm going to use Kyle's Bristle Balm brush for this because I think that having a little bit of a softer edge would be really nice. And this guy's belly is way out there, so, you know, we got to celebrate that bell. Beep, boop, boop, boop. And I can change the colors of this anytime. That's one of the really big advantages to using clipping masks. It allows you to basically non-destructively create and also change all the colors without having to affect the base layer that you're painting on. So say I was painting this directly on the base orange that we had and I wanted to change it. Well, if I use an adjustment layer, then it would adjust both of the colors. So this way I can just keep it on its own layer. And I can always pixel lock it and then change it up. Or I could use a hue saturation adjustment layer, or I could use a color balance adjustment layer. There are a million different ways to do things in Photoshop, as we all know. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a creamy belly. So our creamsicle cat is just coming to life. And again, you can see surrounded by the other ones that don't have that little detail. Now the emphasis is on the center cat. But I want all of these sketches to pop off the page. So of course I have the cream belly just appearing on some of them magically. Next I want to go in with, I think, let's do the BLM brush again, make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do a darker orange and add little stripes because this is a tabby. Once again, I'm going to be clipping a new layer. You just hover between them, press Alt and click. And then I'm going to add some stripes down the back. Beep, beep, beep. Boop, boop, boop. And you can, again, have any kind of details that you want. So say this was a human character that you wanted to make and they had all sorts of bits and bobs on them. Like they're a hiker and they have a big backpack full of stuff. Just start with one overarching color and then add to it and make it so that you feel like it's a manageable thing. Let's see. By the way, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, Oliver. Hi, Martha. Hi, Kendall. Hi, Sean. So good to see everybody. Clever Devil says, what's that Behance Pro business? Ooh, I wonder. Oh, and Cody says we're on Behance now. Yay. Okay, I'm going to load the chat on Behance. Thank you, everybody, for holding on through that. It's really nice to see everybody on Behance as well. Hello. Everybody's like celebrating in the chat. I love that. Hello again. Hello again. Okay, so Odari says, hey, Anna. Hi, Odari. Thank you so much for being here. I started over on YouTube, so I think if you want to see the full stream, you can always watch the replay and catch that. But I really haven't done that much. What we've done so far is we're coloring in the sketches that we have on the page, and we started with literally just the line work, and now we're adding in the color, and we have a background color, and right now what I'm going through is just adding details to our cats. So our main guy here with the cutest little expression, I'm just going to add little stripes because he is an orange tabby. And of course you could go wild with all the little details. I am going to add one more layer, alt between and then clip. And this is going to be my tiny little details. So nose, eyes, ears, things like that. I have some colors in my swatches to keep it consistent. Let's see if I can find my old ones. Oh, I think they've timed out. Okay, so I'm going to cheat and I'm going to look at my other cat layers so that I can, oh yeah, here are the stripes for all of them. Beep. And then we've got some ears, we've got some eyes, and I'm going to color select from them. So I've got a little green eye going on right here, but one way to add a ton of depth to your eyes, if we look up close here, this is just one color that we have in, but if you add a little bit of a color shift, so you have a darker on the top and a lighter on the bottom, it just makes the eyes feel so much more alive and full of color depth and fun. All right, and then I've got, of course, the little white shine because you gotta. Adorable. And again, up close, you can see how messy and loose this sketch is, and that's exactly what I want. I want it to be an example of what you guys, like, you know, anybody can just blob out some ideas and then make them pop with some color underneath and make sure that it reads as a design, even though it's not completely dialed into the nines. You do not have to have the most detailed, the most finished piece to make it look amazing. Also, Clever Devil says, oh, it's the live version of all that stuff that you're asking about. Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So there's a new feature on Behance apparently called Behance Pro. Okay, whoops. I think did I press tab? I always wonder. By the way, if you ever are confused about like what happened in Photoshop, where are all my tools and stuff like that, tab is one of the things that you can press, and F is one of the things that you can press to find out. Okay, so again, going through our layers, we've got the blank orange. This separates it from the background. It gives the sketch so much more oomph already. Adding the details like a belly and stripes just makes it even more eye-catching. And then we've got the details of the face, drawing that attention right to the face, which of course usually is the focal point. Okay, so what's next? Well, my favorite thing to do basically with sketches, to give them a sense of depth and power just with the colors, I'm going to create yet another clipped mask on top of this cat. Again, why it's so important to have that base layer of the orange. Everything's being clipped to it. And what I want to do is create a sense of depth by pushing back the things that are further from us as opposed to closer to us. And there are two ways that you can go about it. You can make things darker, or you can make things lighter. Or you could just change the color up and just see how you like that. But what I'm going to do, I think I use something like this, like a creamy yellowish color. And I'm going to just push back this arm and this leg. And you can see it's opaque color over everything. I'm going to push back this ear, I think, just to, have a little difference. And I'm going to lower the opacity and have it just push it ever so slightly back in space so that there's a differentiation. Now, another option to go with this is you can put a multiply layer, and you can literally do any color. I could take the background color, pop it in there, and it just unifies that color theory a little bit. So there are many ways you can go about it. I tend to like the lighter limbs in the back, but you could totally go for darker. I did it right here with all the other cats. I think what I did was a lighter blue. Let's see. Yeah, it's slightly lighter than the background, and I just lowered it to 30 something, 40 something, whatever. And you can see, like in this upper right hand corner cat, how the limbs being pushed back creates such a sense of depth with these characters. Now again, you could put it on multiply and go darker, or you could go lighter, whatever feels right to you. This is really a creative decision, so I want you to have fun with it. All right, so this one is still multiply. Let's do that normal. Boom. All right, so I don't think that this ear needs to be pushed back, actually. Whoops. Here we go. Erase that out. It's all part of the creative journey, trying to figure out what feels right, what feels off. All right, so we've got our gatos. They are colored in. They have their details, and again, very loose details. You saw how fast we did this. Very approachable. And then we've got one layer that is a depth color. So you can make this darker, you can make this lighter, but it's just to push the limbs and ears and different aspects of the cats back into space so that the other parts come forward. All right, now one big thing that we haven't addressed is the sketch layer itself. The sketch layer is full of so much potential because it's right now just lines that are black. Black is a wonderful color for impact, but also it can be more unified with the colors of the piece. So what I want to do is duplicate it so that we have options. We don't want to ruin anything about our sketch layer, and we aren't going to really touch it. However, I always feel safer duplicating it. And if you want a hotkey for that, it is Control or Command J, and it will create a new layer. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the black original, and then I'm going to pixel lock the new one that we just duplicated. Now, pixel locking is very much like clipping masks. Suddenly, what you paint on this layer is never going to go outside the bounds of the pixels that are already there. This is awesome for color swapping. So if you have a color in mind, like I know I want to go with like a darker red because I feel like that would be really nice against the orange and the blue. And then I can just fill the entire thing by doing Alt Delete. That's how you can fill the entire canvas at once. And since it is pixel locked, we have the sketch completely filled in with that new color. So just again, as an example to show you what we're doing right here, I'm going to choose some kind of like, I don't know, crazy aqua color just to show you how it affects the line layer. You can see it completely changed the color. Okay, so look at the eyes with that color. I'm going to Control Z so that we can have that dark red. I really like this. I think that it works completely with the color palette and everything. But I also think we can take this one step further because you can never stop pushing it, especially when you want it to really pop off the page. And you know how clients are always like, can you make it pop? One of the ways to do that, and especially if you're working with less saturated colors and they say like, we need it to pop, make it more juicy. The colors need to just pop. Well, you don't necessarily need to make things more saturated all the time. I really think that the best mixture of saturation and making the colors feel juicy is making a balance between saturation and desaturation. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, saturation is like how powerful the colors are. When you bring up the color spectrum here, we've got on the left all grays. That's like completely desaturated, no color. And then on the right is super saturated as far as we can go with the screen. So what you want to do is mix those things, have a good healthy balance between saturation and desaturation. Clever Devlin says sweet orange pumpkin cat. Yes, I love a good pumpkin cat. Hey, everybody raise your hands in the chat if you have a cat, and especially if you have an orange cat, put a little orange heart in the chat. I would love to see that. We had an orange cat growing up. His name was Captain Frizz. He had long poofy hair. Okay, so another what I'm trying to get at with this saturation discussion is that I want to put a little bit of a hyper-saturated color in here, because right now we have somewhat muted colors. That orange is kind of powerful. We don't want to overpower it or anything, but it's all about balance. We don't need a ton of a really saturated color. We just need little bits of it. So what I'm going to do, oh, Kendall raises their hand for having a cat. Patrick as well. Oh, yay. Barbara says had one years ago. Oh, I did too. Okay, the Martha says, I joined late. Can you please tell me about the BLM brush and the one for the line work? So, the BLM brush Kyle made, I don't know if it's still available. It's possible. But this was for the BLM protests, and it was just a great brush, honestly, and also went to providing, like funds for the cause. But I don't know if it's still available, but if you check out or like Google Kyle Webster BLM, maybe you can find it. And then the other one that I drew with is called Carbonara New from Kyle's Drawing Box. And if you ever want to find just any brush you could possibly imagine, Kyle has made 5 million of them for Photoshop. All you have to do is go to the little menu in your brush menu. The little menu in your blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when you're in brushes, you can open this little menu and there's an area that says get more brushes. That will bring you to a whole page that offers so many brushes from Kyle Webster, and they are all beautiful and amazing. So highly recommend checking it out. All right, so what I was saying, once again, we're going back. This is perfect, actually, because I'm going to use the Carbonara New, and I'm going to make a new layer underneath my sketch layer, the dark red one that we have, and I'm going to go for a really hot, like, magenta-y color, maybe a little on the red side. There we go. And I'm just going to make a little bit of a messy line under certain parts of the sketch layer that we have. And maybe it's a little hard to see because this is small work. It's really just filling in a little bit of maybe the gaps and showing a little bit of that really strong color. But you can already see immediately the impact that it has. It is so powerful to add a little bit of a really saturated color. The key is to have a little bit of self-control with the amount of it. You don't want to go too crazy and be like, oh yes, everything around here is magenta, because then it takes away from the sketch. It makes it kind of distracting instead of enhancing what we have. So it's a really fun way to just add that little bit of zazz. So you can see like before, so I did it on the other cat. So if you're looking at this guy, before, after, just little touches of that pink are just like, whoa, it's really powerful. It also can draw your eye certain places. So if you want emphasis or you want to de-emphasize something, you can choose to put or not put the pink there. It's a really powerful tool to guide the viewer's eye around, which is kind of our whole job, right? Oh man. Okay, let's see. Clever says, oh wait, yeah, to download, oh, Cody has a great thing, great tip. To download Kyle Webster's brushes, brush menu, gear icon, get more brushes. It will take you to the browser to download his packs. Thank you, Cody. You're amazing. So this is, yeah, thank you, Cody, also saying this is a great tip. I love adding just the tiniest bit of saturation. And these are the creative decisions that you can absolutely just play with. What we can do is take this layer. I'm going to combine it with the other one. I've been working on like one cat up here and the multiple cats down here. So I'm going to combine those. Beep. Boom. All right, and then what we can do is add a hue saturation layer to it and clip it with our handy clipping knowledge that we have now, right? Hovering between the layers and pressing Alt, then clicking down. And then we have this properties panel that shows you all of the hue saturation stuff that we can do. And we can just go through a bunch of different colors. Because it's super saturated, you can absolutely see the change in all of these colors and how much they impact everything. So you see there's like an aqua now, and then we could see like a green. A green looks nice too. I really like the magenta personally, but again, this is a personal decision. It's a creative decision. That's up to you. So those are a ton of my tips to make all of this just make your sketches pop to the nth degree. Everything that you can possibly throw at it, except for one extra little bit, which is the bits and bobs. Now, this depends completely on if this is like a piece that wants it, that needs it. It's a creative decision. I love putting little sparkles on things. I think it just adds like a little je ne sais quoi. You can, of course, add whatever shape or thing that you possibly want. You don't want it to take away from the sketches, though, so I would recommend making it just a little something something. But I also want to encourage you to take any of your sketches that you love and just dazzle them up, make them pop with all of these techniques that we've talked about in Photoshop today. Thank you so much for joining me on this creative kickoff. I am so glad to see you all. It's been lovely. Stick around for more awesome content on Adobe Live, and I will see you again next time. Bye. If I could get to the outro. Bye.